Hello, Footballer Nation, and welcome to the greatest rising podcast in football. My name is Carson, and I am a cardsaholic.
My name is Alex, and I'm a Billsaholic.
And I'm Ian, and I'm a Bearsaholic.
We've officially reached the mid-season mark, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations on making it this far. To hear about what's been going on in the NFL so far, especially with a super crazy exciting trade deadline. Make sure to stay tuned for the rest of the episode. But first, let's go ahead and roll that intro. Hello, Footballer Nation, and welcome to Footballers Anonymous, the greatest rising podcast in football, coming at you after a crazy first half of the NFL season. And that is not a lie. It has been the definition of crazy.
Oh, yeah. Who would have expected the top of the league to consist of the Patriots, Colts? The Broncos were not the least expected thing necessarily compared to the other two, but man, it's been very interesting to start the season.
Actually, we predicted the Colts would be on top just a year too early.
We did predict the Colts would be the 1 seed at season early, but better than what most people did,
Still the greatest Footballers Anonymous storyline to ever exist. The Colts 1 seed. That was basically the reason that we started the podcast.
That is the reason, yeah.
Because we had to share these takes, crazy.
It's nice to see that come into fruition when he manifested the Colts. They did lose this week, but they're still looking good. But
yeah,
it's not anything to be upset about. It is not anything to be upset about. It's one game.
Here, since we're talking about the Colts, let's just keep that up and jump into the beginning of every episode. We asked you to ask us questions and we answered them. The Footballers Anonymous segment where we start off every episode by answering the questions of you guys, Footballer Nation. And starting off, we have a question from Peyton Richardson. Shout out Peyton Richardson. And he asks, are the Colts frauds after all?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Not at all.
I think, honestly, this says more about the Steelers than the Colts.
I would say so. Well, I wouldn't say that entirely. Obviously, the big storyline going into this game was how dominant the Colts offense have been and how horrible the Steelers defense has been. Going into the game, the fans were having a funeral for the Steelers defense, which was hilarious. But, you contained Jonathan Taylor, and that really, really set back the Colts. They still kept it close. It wasn't a horrible loss by any means, but I think it says a lot about both teams as well. I think it says a lot about how Jonathan Taylor contributes to this offense and how critical his role is. And I think the Steelers defense might be getting a turnaround. Who knows? We'll have to see. Obviously, in the following weeks, they have a much more challenging couple of weeks. They have the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Bears the next 3 weeks, all very solid offenses. So it's going to take a little bit. And then they have the Bills right after that and the Ravens. Their next 5 weeks are very testing of their defense. If they do manage to turn around, then these will be a good couple of weeks. If they don't manage to turn around, then these might be a struggling couple of weeks for them.
Talking about the Colts more, though, I wanted to highlight that. They didn't lose by that many points. They lost by 7 points, and they committed 6 turnovers in this game. They only had 4 coming up to this game. They had 4 turnovers just in the first 8 weeks, and they had 6 in this game. It took them 6 turnovers to lose to the Steelers by 7 points. The Steelers are not that shabby of a team.
Exactly.
I think they'll be okay.
No.
They are they have such a stacked roster that we didn't even realize going into this. They also, I am going into this a little bit early, but they acquired Sauce Gardner in the trade deadline, which will kind of cover the general trade more there. But that's another piece on a already stacked team. They are not frauds. They just need to not commit 6 turnovers.
Daniel Jones just had a bad game. 3 of those turnovers. Actually, I think didn't he fumble once as well?
I believe, yeah.
He had 3 interceptions. Daniel Jones had 3 interceptions. And if I'm correct, I think he had a fumble as well. So, a lot of that does fall on him. He threw up 50 pass attempts, and he still completed 31 of them for 360 yards. So just get those. I mean, he throws one less interception. I think this game ends differently. Maybe goes to OT. Who knows what happens there?
I mean, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is Daniel Jones reverting back to the way he normally plays." Touching on what Ian said, he still threw the ball 50 times. He did throw a touchdown. He threw for 342 yards, so he had a very good game yardage wise, and he did have those three interceptions, which were not great. But we're pretending like all of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL haven't had the occasional bad game. We saw horrid games from Jared Goff last year. I wouldn't say that means Jared Goff is a bad quarterback just because he threw a bunch of interceptions in a few games. I think it's ridiculous to say that they're frauds because they lost to the Colts or to the Steelers, who are also a decent team by only 7 points. I think they're going to be just fine. Now, I think it's fair to say, even though we of course are pioneering the Colts 1 seed narrative hard, it is fair to say that after they go into this sort of gauntlet and play a lot of the more the higher level teams in the NFL, they may be humbled a little bit. They may go down a few seeds in the playoff race. But this is definitely a top tier playoff team. They're going to make some big moves in the postseason, and they're going to be very interesting. It's not crazy. It is crazy to call them frauds after one loss. Our second question asks, this is from Michael Ruby. Michael asks, are the Dolphins dumb for trading Jalen Phillips to the Eagles?
I wouldn't say it's dumb. I mean, they're just trading.
I mean, the trade value of it. The trade value of it, I wouldn't say it's dumb. I think they got a good return on it. I think where a lot of people are complaining about this trade is just the fact that it was to the Eagles. Just another piece to the Eagles, who are already a good team. But that doesn't make it a bad trade by any means.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to sit there and say because the Eagles is bad, but
I mean,
as far as the Dolphins go, I don't think it's dumb. I think they did what they needed to do. They're stacking up draft capital for the future. This team is not on a trending up. They're not trending up. They're trending far down. So they need draft capital. They traded away an older guy. I think it's a great trade from them.
I mean, they got a third rounder out of this, so like that's a pretty good trade, honestly, for Jalen Phillips. I do kind of like the Dolphins tanking a little bit and trading some of their guys for draft capital. I think that's good. I think the Dolphins, now it is a little bold of them to make a lot of moves at the trade deadline after firing their GM this week, Chris Greer. So I know a lot of people were concerned about that, but I think they got good enough value out of Jalen Phillips. I think it's a good buy the Dolphins. I would call them dumb for a lot of other reasons, but not for this.
I agree.
Our third question. Hold on, let me pull this one up because I forgot it. This one is from Footballers Anonymous, a recurring fan, OG Pizza Man. He asks, how bad do you think the Jets will be now after the trade?
They're gonna be better.
Well, this season they're gonna be horrible. They are going to be atrocious. I think all of their defensive personnel that mattered are gone. They have nothing. They have Justin Fields and Breece Hall.
Whoa, that's amazing. That's amazing.
It hasn't been amazing so far.
The Bengals proved that offense is more important than defense, and defense doesn't matter. The Jets are about to go on a generational run with Fields, Wilson, and Hall. That's all they need.
Bengals definitely did not prove that, and the Cowboys also are proof that that does not work.
Hey, they're gonna make it work. It will work.
Can we also keep in mind that we were comparing the best receiver for the Bengals case, the best receiver in the league, or sorry, definitive top three receiver in the league, probably definitive top two receiver in the league, arguably top one receiver in the league, top five quarterback, and one of the best wide receiver twos in the league. And
you're describing the
Jets.
That you just described the Jets.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Justin Fields is not Mitch Trubisky. Sorry.
No one ever said that.
Justin Fields is also not Vegas Raiders Kyler Murray.
Justin Fields is also just not Joe Burrow or Josh Allen or Lamar.
Nah,
he's also just not
Joe
good.
Burrow.
Like, I'm gonna be real. He's just not good.
I don't know about that one.
Right now.
I don't know about
Justin Fields, I don't want to hate him too much, but it's not like he's not like
No.
He is by far the best quarterback.
I think he's more serviceable than people give him credit for because people love to dog on him, but at the same time, like he's not gonna carry the Jets. He
No,
can't.
he won't. He
carry
won't.
them.
But hey, he will. He won't carry.
Yeah,
He won't
right.
carry them, but he
Right.
will carry. He'll carry the football 32 times and rush for 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. That is your official Footballers Honest prediction of the week.
No,
Justin Fields will have 30 carries for 400 yards and 6 touchdowns
no,
against the
no.
Browns.
This is
Yep.
very
Yep.
unofficial. This is very unofficial. We here at Footballers Anonymous credibility and ownership, and we do not
Hey,
support.
put on my name then. That's your official Ian Watkins prediction of the week. Justin Fields will have 32 carries for 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. Chalk it up right now. And a win over the Browns as well. Chalk it up.
Alright.
Chalk it up.
Uh,
To answer the original question, yes, the Jets will be worse after the trade deadline.
yes, but they could be better in the
Yes.
future if they
In the-
actually
in the
learn to
very near
draft,
future, all their draft capital, with all their draft capital.
which is a lot now. That is it for our questions of the week. Alex, do you by chance have a comment of the week this week?
I do, because we had a little bit of a disagreement with OG Pizza Man in terms of him claiming that he was Mitchell David Trubisky's biologic father, which was just incorrect. OG Pizza Man said, I would like to apologize for my actions. I went and talked with Lord Mitch after he removed my arms and gave Gino his vision back just to take it away. He told me I can worship him. Wait, sorry. He removed my arm. He talked with Lord Mitch, and after he removed OG Pizza Man's arms and gave Gino his vision back just to take it away, so he took away Gino's vision again, he then said he can worship him again. He's a follower of Trubisky, one above all.
Thank you, OG Pizza Man. We appreciate you realizing the light and coming to terms with your own mistakes and now becoming part of the saved.
What is this, bro?
Also, the eyesight power move was amazing.
Bro,
That is something
he's
he missed during,
He's Mr. Beast. He's giving people sight and taking it away.
the video didn't do well.
Did not do well. Okay. Thank you for that wonderful comment of the week, Alex. And thank you, OG Pizza Man, for continuing to support the podcast. We appreciate you. We're now going to jump into the 2024 fan-voted favorite segment of Footballers Anonymous, Carson's College Knowledge. It was a bit of a quieter week, so we can go through this pretty quickly. But we can start off with a lot of major upsets here. First off, with some ACC action, we have NC State, who pulled off the upset against number 8 Georgia Tech, 48-36. Crazy win for NC State, great for them. And then, despite all three of us picking against this game, and our guest star, Charlie, telling us all we were wrong, we didn't listen. But sure enough, number 20 Texas actually upset number 9 Vandy, 34-31 on the road. Shout out honorary Footballer Anonymous Charlie, who did call this very well. And then we have Alex, who actually made a good pick for once. He he predicted SMU upsetting number 10 Miami, 26-20 in overtime. So shout out Alex to calling that use down, baby. I failed to take into account that this is Miami football in November. So that's entirely my fault. I feel really stupid about that. In other news, not too much else went on. Number 16 Louisville came to Blacksburg and beat Virginia Tech 28-16. Not super surprising, but I figured I would mention it anyways. Number 17 Cincinnati got beat by number 24 Utah 45-14. So that was pretty crazy in the Big 12. And West Virginia upset number 22 Houston 45-35. And just to remind you guys how bad Colorado is, Arizona beat Colorado 52-17. So yeah, they suck. Maybe retiring Shadur's number was a better decision than we thought for them, because they can't do anything without him. So shout out to Colorado for being really bad at football. But that is all for this week of Carson's College Knowledge. Thank you all for listening. And now, before we jump into our our mid-season madness NFL news, we're going to roll an ad.
Mayotivations with Will Levis.
What is up, Footballer Nation? Welcome back to Footballers Anonymous, the podcast where we talk ball, argue about nonsense, and emotionally cope through fantasy heartbreak, especially Ian.
And speaking of emotional damage, we got some news that'll heal your soul and hurt your wallet.
The Footballers Anonymous merch store is officially live at footballersanonymous.shop.fourthwall.com.
That's right, and this Sunday, we're dropping our first ever expanded collection, Choking Hazard.
Featuring all three of our beautiful faces plastered across t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and maybe a bib if Carson can't keep his mayo down.
Please don't mention mayo ever again. I still can't look at a sandwich the same way after last week's mayo episode. I've been having war flashbacks.
To be fair, you did that to yourself, buddy.
I was coerced by the script.
Anyway, our apologies for the delay. I don't know what Carson's talking about by a script. The Choking Hazard collection was supposed to drop last week, but our supplier choked. How fitting.
But for real this time, it's coming this Sunday. No delays, no excuses, just pure football-themed chaos with our actual faces on it.
Okay, Carson's been driving me insane all week talking about Christmas music.
Because it's November, Alex. It's time.
No, it's not. You wait until after Thanksgiving like a normal person. It's the best holiday.
Bro, if I want to deck the halls and cry to Mariah Carey while Kyler Murray throws picks, that's my coping mechanism.
The only time I'll allow for Christmas music right now is if...
And only if...
It's the
It's
all-new
Footballers Anonymous Christmas album. That's right, when our TikTok hits 100 followers, we're dropping a real Footballers Anonymous Christmas album featuring us singing holiday classics like All I Want for Christmas is a Competent O-Line and Do You Hear What Trubisky's Throwing?
Shout out to the GOAT himself, Mitchell David Trubisky.
May his throwers always find their targets, even though they already do always find their target.
So head to footballersanonymous.shop.fourthwall.com, grab the Choking Hazard merch this Sunday, and get ready for our holiday drop coming later this month.
Follow us on TikTok so we can bless your ears with the Christmas album nobody asked for.
And remember,
Stay anonymous.
Stay
football.
And stay away from mayo, please. And now,
You know,
we'd like to jump into some NFL news. And I thought we would start by talking about our boy. We all love him. We all listen to his anthems every week. It's our dog, Blue-Eyed Seth. Blue-Eyed Seth has come under a lot of fire online because of his album, or not his album, because of his anthem that he released this week for the Steelers game, where he specifically said, quote, "Let's break Rodgers' back." Now, a lot of people thought this was not okay, that he, quote unquote, wished harm on an NFL player and condoned violence and a whole bunch of stuff. He made an apology video, promises that he doesn't actually condone violence or want Rodgers to actually get hurt. He was just, quote, being savage. And most people did not accept this apology. We would like to state right now that we here at Footballers Anonymous stand with Blue-Eyed Seth. We love Blue-Eyed Seth. If bro wants to be a savage, let bro be a savage, dude. Like, what are we talking about? Come on.
I think it's pretty obvious that he didn't mean to say that he meant for Rodgers to get injured. He did not mean, that's not what he meant by break his back. He was talking about like the defense just giving him trouble. In some other news, the Dolphins have been a bit of a mess. We talked about how they parted ways with GM Chris Greer when we were talking about how they did a lot of moves at the trade deadline to sell away the pieces. I'm personally a little bit surprised they haven't parted ways with McDaniels too, but I mean, it's not like, I don't know. It's up to them, I guess.
I mean, they haven't made any great strides forward. They traded away Jalen Phillips to the Eagles for a third. We talked about that earlier. That's a good move, I guess. They're clearly done with this season. They're tanking. I don't know if they're going to trade for a quarterback next year or try to figure out. Well, they're not going to try to figure out Tua. He's definitely done after this year. But yeah, I don't know, man. Kind of nuts over there in Miami.
This is wild. The Eagles traded for cornerback Jair Alexander in a 7th from the Ravens for a 6th rounder. What?
What?
I'll move.
I didn't think the Ravens were selling.
I'll move.
That's a pretty. I mean, Howie Roseman just continues to just fleece teams, but also, why would the Ravens do this?
I'm not saying Jair's like a super valuable player, but all it takes is switching a 6th with a 7th. That's crazy. Like,
Right, yeah, it's not like Jair's a useless, he's not useless on the field. And this is a corner that's pretty solid on a struggling defense. A team that with Lamar is probably gonna try to push for the playoffs, particularly the division, because I think that's more wide open than the wild card race actually, because that's the 7th.
I just don't understand why the Ravens, as a team with an incredibly struggling defense already, is continuing to sell players on that defense for dirt cheap. This isn't the first one they did. They traded Odafe Owe, I think 2 weeks ago, which was at least a better deal. But you're giving away Jair Alexander. Again, not saying he's really worth all that much, despite them certainly thinking so when they originally got him. But what are we talking about? What are you doing? You need to be buying for your defense. You cannot be selling at this point. It's kind of crazy that they're still doing that. I don't know what's going on in Baltimore, but it's a horrible move. In other news, the Jaguars had a very up and down week, I guess. They had to place Travis Hunter on IR, which I know isn't great for them. They're looking for some talent there at wide receiver, which they did address. They made a trade on the trade deadline with the Raiders for wide receiver Jacoby Myers for a 4th and 6th rounder. I think this is a good deal by the Jags, honestly.
Here's what I want to know about this trade. How will it affect Jacoby Myers' fantasy production? Because I have him on my team. And I personally think his fantasy is going to skyrocket. I think going from Geno Smith to Trevor Lawrence is amazing. I think that's great. Two sides of the same coin, I would say. But Geno's better, And then on top of that, Hunter's injured. And I don't think who else plays receiver in Jacksonville. So I think Jacoby Myers is really good. And I think his fantasy production is just going to go up.
I don't think Gino's better right now.
Then Trevor Lawrence? Yeah, no, you're
Yeah.
Oh. No.
This season?
Huh?
Are we serious?
This season, you're insane.
What?
This season, Trevor is definitely
He's
better
by
than
far the worst quarterback in the league.
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes, Trevor Lawrence is way better than Geno Smith.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think we just had a
Geno
major
was better than
major miscommunication there.
No, I said Trevor's better than Geno.
Chat,
said
can we
there's-
roll that?
I said they're two sides of the
Listeners,
same
can we roll this back? Actually,
Ian.
Carson, can we roll this back and get what Ian said?
Sure.
We definitely heard.
Going from Geno Smith to Trevor Lawrence is amazing. I think that's great.
We'll roll back.
And
the
I'll
tape
roll
and
it
see
back
who's
just
right.
to confirm.
Okay.
Basically, what will
The
happen
point
is
being-
that after my explanation here, someone is going to be pictured on the screen in clown makeup for the view.
His fantasy production will go up.
Thank you, Ian,
Yeah.
for asking the question and then answering it yourself. But it's a good question.
Speaking of the Jaguars, Cam Little broke the NFL field goal distance record.
Boom.
He broke it in the preseason. People are like, nah, it doesn't count. So he just went and did it again.
Yeah. It's a real tragedy that we went from 66 yards to 68 yards. So the record will, in fact, never be 6'7". Gen Alpha, that's just a major L for Gen Alpha right there.
We still have the opportunity for 69, though.
We do.
True, we do.
This is for Ian.
We went into this week of football with many good games. Some ending in heartbreak, some ending spectacularly. Some teams doing crazy comebacks against teams of our own. But no game could have prepared us for the NFL game of the year. The Chicago Bears going into Ohio to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Wow. I mean, talk about not needing defense. Defense did not exist in this game. For those of you who didn't watch this game or don't know, the score was 47-42 in the Bears' favor, with what was it, 22 points scored in the final 2.5 minutes. A truly generational game. Bears put up history. Joe Flacco put up history. This was Joe Flacco's career high in passing yards. Fun fact. The Bears, this was one of their best historical performances. And Caleb Williams became the first player in NFL history to have 275 plus passing yards, 50 plus rushing yards, and 20 plus receiving yards in one game. The first touchdown of the game was, or the second touchdown, the first touchdown of the game was an opening kickoff return. Second touchdown was a Chicago Bears Philly special. It was a generational game. It was truly beautiful from start to finish. I was stressing. I was crying. My heart was racing. I was jumping for joy. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I was smiling. I was frowning. It was truly an experience. I was at work when the game ended, running around the store, jumping with joy, screaming that the Bears won. And I ended up just like collapsing in the break room, just like holding I had so much anxiety built up from the game. I was just after all of it, after my like a little happiness rush reward, I was just sitting on the floor in the break room, just in a ball, pure joy. And yeah, game of the year right there. Thank God it ended in our favor. I would have actually cried if it didn't.
Yeah, this was an insane. Honestly, this whole week, especially on the Sunday 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock slots, all of the games were incredible. Like they were all super close, good matchups, all lots of fun to watch. And then we had Sunday Night Football, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it was just an incredible day of games. But this, I mean, I was just watching Red Zone for most of the day, but I had to turn Red Zone off and just like lock in on this Bears-Bengals game because as soon as that fumble happened, I was like, what is going on?
I already shouted out Caleb Williams. I would like to shout out Kyle Monangai for having 199 all-purpose yards, 176 on the ground. Insane. Dude, he is our running back. He is so much better than DeAndre Swift. Started preaching this like 2 weeks ago. And also, I would shout out for Carson Barrett here, Colston Loveland for an amazing performance, NFC Offensive Player of the Week, 6 catches, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns, including the 58-yard game winner, and 30 points for fantasy points for Carson.
Let me tell you, I drafted Colston Loveland at the beginning of the year in one of my most important fantasy leagues, thinking he would be a sneaky pick, and he has been so disappointing for me. For so long, and I even texted Ian during this game. I was like, "Yo, Cole Kmet is out. You think that means actual fantasy points for Loveland?"
It sucked that it had to come at the sake of Cole Kmet being hurt.
Yeah, but I mean, he's Colston Loveland. I didn't know a whole ton about Colston Loveland going into this season. I just kind of assumed Tyler Warren was the best tight end in the draft. He still kind of is, but like because the Bears took Colston Loveland first, I did a pretty intense deep dive into like who the heck is this guy. So I watched a whole lot of his film at Michigan. I got pretty excited about him. I thought he was going to be a good player, and then he hasn't done much. So it was really awesome to see him finally living up to his potential a little bit. I'm excited to see him hopefully going forward. This is all he needed to put up some more production. I'm excited about Colston Loveland. This was a Chicago Bears offensive masterclass and a game that defense didn't exist in. But shout out to the Bears and Bengals for giving us one of the most entertaining games I've ever watched.
Facts.
The Chargers lost Joe Alt for the season, which has been a big blow to their offensive line because that guy is just awesome. But they went out in the trade deadline, try to make up for it a little bit. They're trading for Saints offensive lineman Trevor Penning. Trying to replace the hole that losing Joe Alt has caused. And I think that's a pretty good move for them, honestly. Trevor Penning's pretty solid.
Yeah, Trevor Penning, he's not a Joe Alt level player, but I think it's good that they very quickly tried to fix that. I guess for... So in case you guys don't remember from last year, we had a fun little time when I won Casual of the Week because I forgot who Davis Mills is. I remembered, thankfully, and I remember texting these guys on Sunday, and I was like, yo, guys, Davis Mills is playing right now. And Ian was like, bro, who's that? Who is he even on anymore? And I was like, he's still a Texan. He is. CJ Stroud got hurt during the Broncos Texans game, and Davis Mills came in for the second half of this game. And I mean, it was kind of fun to watch, I guess. I wasn't really impressed by either of these teams during the game, but seeing Davis Mills play for the Texans again is kind of cool, and he will be starting in week 10. So for shout out all the Davis Mills fans out there. I know there's a lot of you guys.
It's pretty much every Texans fan.
Yeah.
The 49ers rookie defensive end Mikael Williams tore his ACL because the 49ers need more injuries. Tucker Kraft of the Green Bay Packers tore his ACL. Marshawn Lattimore tore his ACL.
Jeez Louise, man.
Luke McCaffrey's likely out for the season with a broken collarbone. Jaden Daniels went down with an injury, which we're going to hit back on that one because that one was a little bit of a mess. And actually, I think that's it in terms of the injuries besides one, but we'll hit that one later because that's less of it. I think there's a little bit of a difference there. But the Jaden Daniels injury came late in the Seattle Seahawks game, which those who didn't watch the game, Washington was not in that game at all. Seattle was up 31-10, I believe, at halftime, and the game ended 38-10. They kept Jaden Daniels in, though, for pretty much the entire time until he went out, and he got injured late in the fourth, which, honestly, down 38-10 late in the fourth, he shouldn't. A lot of fans are saying that he shouldn't have been out there. I kind of agree.
Especially coming off of an injury. Like, this is his first week back from an injury. And thankfully, they didn't re-aggravate the same thing, but it's like, if it's the kid's first game back from injury, and you're down by that much, the game is over. It's ridiculous that he was still out there. I've seen a lot of people, they say in order to keep especially a young starting quarterback in a game like that, you have to ask yourself two things. One, is this going to help the team at all? Two, what's the risk? And three, does your quarterback learn anything from being out there? Jaden Daniels is not learning anything from being out there. He's not gonna pull a Broncos and score 33 points in the fourth quarter against one of the best defenses in the league in Seattle, and this doesn't help your team at all. It's ridiculous. And the worst of the worst happened. We don't know how bad his injury is. Thankfully, it was to his non-throwing arm. It's extremely gruesome, horrible to watch. You hate to see it, but this game sealed Washington's season. They're done. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of questions about Dan Quinn in making the decision there.
Something else I want to highlight is on like the other side of this bet, we're gonna start going into the good player performances of the week. Rico Dowdle, man, this guy in his last 5 games, I believe he has 700 something yards in his last 5 games and multiple touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns in this game, 25 carries for 130 yards against the Packers in a game that they won. The Panthers upset the Packers. It was a crazy game, and it's crazy because Rico Dowdle was signed as the backup, but he's just taken Chuba Hubbard's job. Like he's leading the NFC in rushing yards, and he's only really had 5 games starting.
Not really. He literally has only played in 5 games all year. Which is absolutely crazy. He's rushed for 200 in one of them, 100 plus in 2 of the others. 735 rushing yards over 5 games is crazy. Genuinely shocking.
Even in the other 2 games, he was like under 100 yards, but like his yards per carry against Miami was 9.
Yeah.
His yard per carry against Dallas is 6.1. The Jets was 4.6. The Bills is 6.8. He only got 8 carries though, but 5.2 against the Packers. He's so efficient.
Rico Dowdle, man. I'm honestly shocked that the Panthers didn't make a move and try to trade Chuba before the deadline. I think they could have gotten a lot for him because he's still a starting running back on a lot of teams. I was really hoping for Chuba Hubbard, but I mean Rico Dowdle. Wow.
You guys are crazy. This is some other notable player moments. A lot of these are YouTube's highlights.
The Cowboys traded for Logan Wilson from the Bengals. The I guess neither, I was gonna say the rich get richer, but neither of them are rich. They're both poor. The Bengals poor gets poorer, and the Cowboys gets a little bit. Logan Wilson's a solid player. He's a solid linebacker. He's been pretty good. Bengals just proven you don't need defense at
I
all.
mean, during Monday Night Football, it was so funny. Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, this whole time we're talking about that blockbuster trade that Jerry Jones kept talking about, and they were like, I don't know, if I'm Jerry Jones, I'm canceling this trade because it's going to take a lot more than one or two players to fix this defense. And I think there is no better example of that than what happened on Monday Night Football. Cardinals fans can exhale for a second because we finally stopped the slide. The 5-game losing streak is over. We did not choke the fourth quarter, and we actually played an incredible game on both sides of the ball against the Dallas Cowboys. Before I talk about the elephant in the room with the Cardinals, I wanted to shout out all of the rookies on our defense. This was the first game where our defense was fully healthy. We finally got cornerback Garrett Williams back. Will Johnson is fully healthy. Budda Baker's looking good. We have all of our defensive linemen, including our first round pick, Walter Nolan, who I'm going to be real, I was not super excited about coming into this year. But he had one of the best defensive rookie debuts I've ever seen in my life. He was absolutely incredible. He had 3 tackles, 1 sack, I believe a tackle for loss. He was just putting so much pressure on Dallas. And our whole defensive line really was making Dallas pay here. Obviously, Josh Sweat continuing to strike fear into Dak Prescott, as he did when he was an Eagle. Calais Campbell had 2 sacks on the day. As a team, we had 5. It was an absolutely incredible day. Walter Nolan, if he wasn't so injured for the first half of the season, he would immediately be a defensive rookie of the year candidate. He has looked incredible. I can't wait to see more of him and really this whole defense. Will Johnson especially, who no one's talking about, but he should be in the defensive rookie of the year conversations. He's looked incredible as well. So far the best looking corner of the draft. Not a shock to most people. But I want to talk to you guys about Kyler Murray. And more specifically, his replacement. Jacoby Brissett went off during this game, as he's actually done in all of the games he's started so far. He has officially unlocked Marvin Harrison Jr. He broke his personal career reception record in the first half of the game. He had 96 yards, 7 receptions, and a beautiful, absolutely beautiful touchdown. Funniest thing I've ever seen, dude.
Deron Bland. People were pointing this out too. Oh my god, the fact that Ron Bland got cooked. Not only that, this guy is what they used the majority of the Micah Parsons money. This is who they used the majority of the Micah Parsons money to pay, and he got that cooked by Marvin Harrison Jr.
All day. There was just nothing he could do against Marv. It was bad. Deron Bland, man, full on. Marv hits a little stutter step and then shoop, just he looks like he's going to block for the run, and then he just hits a nice little boom, instant touchdown. Deron Bland is literally on his back. It is the funniest thing I've ever seen. There's a clip going around of CD's reaction to the route, and he's just like, dang. It is so funny. So shout out Marv, who had a day. Trey McBride under Jacoby Brissett. He's already got 4 touchdowns, either 4 or 5, I don't remember which. 4 or 5 touchdowns just from Jacoby. That is more touchdowns than he had from Kyler Murray all year last year. And Jacoby Brissett, man, he's become the first Arizona Cardinal since Carson Palmer in 2015 to throw for at least 200 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns in 3 consecutive games. Keep in mind, these are the only 3 games he's played. He did that against a pretty good Packers defense, especially. Not only that, but Jacoby Brissett has also completed 65% of his passes, thrown for over 850 yards, more than 6 touchdowns, more than six touchdown passes, and rushed for a touchdown in his 3 first starts with the Cardinals. The only NFL quarterback to ever do that over his first 3 starts with an NFL team is Kurt Warner with the Rams in 1999, which is genuinely crazy. After this game, Cardinals fans are ready to ship out Kyler. No one's saying Jacoby Brissett is the answer, but I think it's become clear that Kyler Murray is not the solution. Jacoby has looked great, and Kyler Murray, to make things worse, he is still injured. His foot. He was originally supposed to be able to play as a quarterback 2 in this game, but was unfortunately put on IR because his foot does look bad, and it's going to take at least 4 to 5 weeks more to recover. So he is on IR. Jacoby is named the starter. However, the important thing to note is that when asked by Arizona Cardinals radio if hypothetically Kyler Murray were healthy, he would be the starter, Jonathan Gannon specifically said he likes where the offense is, and Jacoby would have still been the starter regardless, which means Kyler Murray is benched, essentially. Would not be surprised if we don't see him take any more snaps as an Arizona Cardinal, which sucks. One of 2 things is going to happen over the next 4 weeks. Either Jacoby Brissett is going to keep playing as incredibly as he has, the Cardinals are going to win a couple games, in which case they're going to want to push for some kind of either at least winning record or possible wild card, although we're set back pretty far. That doesn't seem likely. In which case, Jacoby's going to start for the rest of the year. The other scenario, we keep doing what we do and losing close games. We get knocked out of the postseason, in which case they're probably going to give Kyler Murray his last couple games coming off of injury to be like, yo, play for your job. In which case he probably would. But regardless, yeah, he's most likely being shipped off this offseason for trade capital, which sucks. Quarterback class isn't super great this year. There are a couple guys that I have my eye on personally. I was a really big fan of Sam Levitt until he got hurt, and now I'm not sure. But we'll just have to see. It sucks. I love Kyler Murray as a dude. I've been a fan of him for a long time. I know my little sister is an incredibly big Kyler Murray fan. I had to tell her that he's probably done today, which sucked a little bit. But yeah, hey, the Cardinals have some momentum, and if we can somehow pull off back-to-back wins against Seattle and San Fran, which we won't, but hypothetically, if we could, we're right back in the mix. And that's what we need. So Kobe is the truth, man. Let's go. I believe. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to bring an end to our NFL news and bring us to the climax of our show. As we all know, it is the Footballers Anonymous Power Rankings. For those of you who don't know, every week, each one of us takes all 32 NFL teams and ranks them from worst to best on a scale of 1 to 32. We then take all those lists and use this thing called math. With each team's assigned number value, take the averages and create one combined power rankings list. Now, unfortunately, because sometimes math works this way, some of the number values end up being the same, in which case we have a tie and we have to vote on which team takes the higher spot. Now, if they are in either our bottom 3 or our top 5, we discuss them on the pod. We have one of those today. But normally the rest of them will just be discussed off the pod. We had 2 this week, plus the one that we will be talking about today. But first, we got to talk about the coveted bottom 3, or as we like to call them here on Footballers Anonymous, the baddies. Yes,
the baddies!
We're going to be talking about some baddies. So, with our first of the 3 baddies, sitting at 30 in our Footballers Anonymous power rankings, it's the New York Jets, baby. They still suck. Bad.
They're going to go up plus 20 spots this week. They're going to score, along with Justin Fields, 32 carries for 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. They will also be awarded 300 points for Justin Fields being awesome, and they will win by $6 million.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, now that Ian's done with that part of it, obviously they made some good trades, but a lot of that was trading away pieces to get picks. They're obviously tanking. They're 1-7. But, they make good trades. Maybe the front office is going to move them in the right direction. They're just not going to be good for a couple years, most likely. But,
I believe they have 8 future first rounders combined between the next 3 years.
In the next 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, the next 3 years, I believe they have a combined 8 first rounders. I think they have 3 for the next 2 years and then 2 for the third year from now, whatever the year that is.
That
28.
That is some crazy star power you can get if you actually learn to draft, which they
If you know how to draft.
Now, I will say, Alex, you said that they were trading around there, that they were trading away players. You can't forget that they traded for wide receiver
did.
Adonai Mitchell from the Colts, who had an incredibly highlight-worthy 1-yard line drop against the Rams a few weeks ago. It's
Oh
so
my God,
perfect
that
that
is
he's a
like-
Jet now.
I get, like, they definitely traded him because of that play.
Mm-hmm.
He lost them one of their 2 losses. I feel bad. He got sent to the depths of New York. That's so sad.
I can imagine the conversation right now where they're like about to finalize Sauce Gardner for a first and a second, and then they're like, tell you what, we'll make it a first and another first if you also take Adonai Mitchell.
That's so funny. They were probably like, maybe a first and a second or a third. Nah, if you take Adonai Mitchell, we'll give you 2 for. That's diabolical.
It's crazy.
Also, they did acquire another player. They acquired Mozzie Smith. In the
true.
Quentin Williams. So they they're getting a bunch of picks out, and they're getting solid players for their very good players. It's not like they're getting nothing.
Yeah, they're gonna suck for the rest of this year, but there is some potential in the future there if they can hopefully figure out how to draft. We'll find out if that ends up working out for them. Ian shaking his head, it will not work out. But coming in at number 31 as our second of the baddies, ladies and gentlemen, we have making his first start, Tyler Shough and the New Orleans Saints. The Rams
Did not go well.
did not get shucked. They did not get shucked. In fact, I would say the Rams shucked Shough.
I 100% would agree with that notion. Those Saints look miserable. Surprise, surprise.
The Saints' leading rusher this game was Taysom Hill with 4 carries for 30 yards. He also threw a pass in the red zone that was incomplete. He was their leading rusher. It was just bad. I'm not going to lie. Tyler Shough, he went 15 of 24, 176 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. So not like a horrid game for his first start against a top, I don't want to spoil where they are, so top 5 LA Rams team. I mean, there's potential. It's worth seeing what they have in him, but it doesn't look good for the Saints.
Not at all. And I agree. We see this a lot with teams just throwing players into situations they shouldn't be in. Putting Tyler in his first career game against the LA Rams, not a great idea at all.
No. It also doesn't help that they did trade away a certain player that we'll be talking about later with one of our top 5 teams who was the recipient. But it's not going to help Tyler Shough at all either. But it could be worse for Tyler Shough because he's not the lowest ranked rookie quarterback team on our list, because with the coveted ultra baddie spot, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, number 32 in our power rankings is the Tennessee Titans.
Wow, this is shocking.
What a surprise!
What a surprise,
I
dude.
couldn't have seen this coming.
I don't know if they're winning another game this season. I'm gonna be honest.
Not unless they play the Cardinals again.
No,
True.
no, wait. Let me think about this. I'm pretty sure the Titans and Saints play.
I'm looking at their schedule right now.
They play week 17. You know what's crazy?
Hey, they also play
Saints
the
play
Browns too.
They play the Browns, and the Saints play the Jets and the Titans.
Ooh,
We're
we're
gonna
gonna
get
have
some
some
teams.
contenders for Tank Bowl coming up.
You know,
Real
we
contenders.
really could, like, I think when those games come out for game of the week, they could be, like, just because of the Tank Bowl stats, like, they could be thrown in there.
I think.
Oh my God. Not
I
only do the
think
Saints play the
I
Jets,
have a
they play
hot
the
take.
Jets, too.
I think since it's past mid-season, I think on certain weeks we can have a special 4th game of the week that is Tank of the Week. I think that's something we need to add. We need to add a Tank of the Week because there are a lot of good Tank Bowl
One in
games coming
5,
up.
but yeah.
Not every week because they're not going to happen every week. But if there's a good Tank Bowl, we're going to talk about it. So hey, they could win another game. We don't know. I've seen people
They could.
saying that the Titans need to move off of Cam Ward, which is crazy. I think he might be the only good part of that team.
What?
See,
That's
Cam
it.
Ward It's so hard with these rookie quarterbacks in these terrible situations because like there's really nothing he can do. They're so bad that it's hard to actually get a good announce on them. And it's like those situations where you worry like it might like stunt his development and whatnot, but because
I'm
he's
not
gonna have to
gonna.
learn a whole new system next year and everything.
Okay, not gonna lie. His stats this year are really, really bad. But again, he's one of the best. He's one of the best rookie quarterback prospects I've seen in a long time. He doesn't really have a head coach. He never has really had a head coach. Let's be real. They just need to build everything, which sucks. He has 5 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. A QBR on the season of 23.9.
See, that's not the greatest right there. Now,
32nd in the league.
I would argue that is not, in fact, the greatest right there.
No, I
No.
don't think so. But I
I'm
can't
sorry,
even
Titans.
blame.
I can't even blame him.
I won't. I mean, on the bright side, the game against the Chargers was close.
It was. I don't know which
But-
team that speaks more to, but it was close.
Yeah, I don't know. Poor Titans, but
Hey, it's okay.
Maybe
Enough
they'll
talking. Enough talk about bad teams. Let's talk about some good teams, shall we? We here at Footballers Anonymous, of course, our top teams recently being switched from our full top 12 just to our top 5, so we can talk a little bit more about the top teams in the NFL now with things getting closer to the end of the season. We first have to decide who gets to be in the top 5 because we have a tie for 5 and 6
wow.
between.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know it's a good and it's a
Oh,
good
no.
one
I
too.
bet-
Between
I bet
two
that.
teams, both coming off of horrible losses. Well, not horrible, but upset losses.
Yeah.
One of
I know
them
one of them. The other one.
being the Indianapolis Colts,
Yeah, both.
and the other
Li-
being the Detroit Lions. Oof, both fighting for top 5 spots. We can take a second to talk
know
about both of these.
I know exactly why the Lions are here. It's literally my fault, and I'm going to fight this. I want to see that.
Talking about the Colts, we talked about them a lot. Obviously, they traded for Sauce Gardner, which is huge. Before this game, Daniel Jones became the 4th ever quarterback to have a 100 plus passer rating in 7 of his first 8 games in the season, joining the likes of Tom Brady and a few others who I honestly can't remember. Elite company. And even after this game, he still leads the league in passing yards with 2,404 yards. He is on pace to have a 4,000, I believe, 4,600 yard season, which is crazy.
Now the Lions are in this kind of position. They're in the tie because they just lost to the Vikings this week, which the Vikings played very well. Don't get me wrong. Like JJ McCarthy had a pretty solid game. The Vikings in general, they are a sleeper competitive team. With like a good quarterback play. I'm going to fight for the Colts to be 5. And I want to kind of paint the picture here in my mind. The Lions, they're sitting at 5-3. It's not necessarily that. It's like they have an impressive offense. They're still the Lions. I'm not saying they're a bad team. I put them at 7 or 8, I believe, on my power rankings.
I'll check.
And I think a lot of this has to do with 2 big things. One of them being that the Vikings, they did very well against the Vikings last year, and that was a Vikings team that went 14-3 and had Sam Darnold at the helm, and they seem to be more vulnerable to like general like upsets and whatnot. And that's less important. The actual thing I was kind of looking at their like full season like breakdown. The Bears win. It's impressive now, but the Bears start off not the best, as Ian knows. They had a little bit of a slump start off because they choked against the Vikings and were a little bit of a rattle. The Ravens win is not as impressive as we thought it was at the time. The Browns are the Browns. The Bengals were Jake Browning Bengals. I look at one win as like really impressive is that Bucks win. That Bucks win was incredible. That I'm not discrediting them for that. But they have losses against the Packers, against the Chiefs, and now against the Vikings that I think should drag them down like below the Colts. Because I still think if you look at the Colts' 2 losses, they lost by 1 possession in both those games, and both those games had multiple turnovers, and one had 6. They've been dominant besides that. The Lions have not been as dominant. They have been in a couple games, but it was against the Browning Bengals.
So I'm gonna say I think the Chiefs loss shouldn't count for too much because that was some crazy officiating. But also I was
I
picking the
agree.
Colts from the beginning, so I was picking the
Yeah.
Colts from the beginning.
Okay, so we agree with the Colts.
Yeah, I'm
I
taking the Colts.
I'm going to take the Colts. I think especially they made good moves. They're clearly fully committed to Daniel Jones. Think the Lions are the safer answer, which is why I had them. But if I think it's fair, I think the Colts can take the top 5 spot. I would not complain about that at all. This is definitely interesting though. I actually did not think that was the way things were going to go. So, sorry Detroit Lions, you've officially fallen out of the top 5. Congratulations to the Colts for winning the tie and barely managing to stay in. You better pick it up over the next few weeks because we've got some peak competition coming up, including our top 4. Coming in at number 4, finally making an appearance back here after a signature win. We have the Buffalo Bills, who really just had to follow the script to a T and beat the Chiefs in the regular season.
Okay,
Just means
so I have a lot to talk about this game. We rattled Patrick Mahomes. Actually, our defensive line structure in this game was top notch. We did a very interesting concept with the defensive tackle that pretty much kept Mahomes from just running through the offensive line. We structured it in a way where we had the edge rushers just set really hard on the edge. And then the defensive tackles, one of our defensive tackles, we only rushed 4. One of our defensive tackles was like sort of rushing, like he was applying pressure, but he was more like playing as like a spiral. It was interesting. I was kind of looking
Shout
at
out
the
Joey
breakdown.
Bosa for that one play where he was just all over the place.
I was gonna talk about that one too. Joey Bosa, he was rushing Mahomes. He had a clear lane, and then he thought because he got through so quickly, he thought it was a screen. He looked back and then just completely let Patrick Mahomes get the first down on that play. That was very infuriating, but it it was really funny to watch on the live. It makes more sense when you like think about the play and everything, but like that was ridiculous. Besides that, obviously we beat them in the regular season again, which I don't want to say I don't care. Like it's a good win, but I'm not gonna care until we beat them in the playoffs or you know.
Is it sad that
That
I
is
was
valid.
so uninterested by this whole game? Like, I was genuinely like, part of me was like, maybe the Chiefs should win this game so something different happens. For no reason other than I was like, so something different happens. This Bills Chiefs rivalry infuriates me so much because it's just the same thing over and over. So I was like, I don't even care who wins at this point. Just make it freaking different, dude. And I mean, it was different in the sense that the refs were actually non-biased during this game. And Mahomes looked mortal, but like it's the same. I won't be impressed until the Bills beat them in the playoffs, but it's a good win. And the thing that struck me about this game was that, like Alex said, Bills defense looked really good, which is something that has been keeping them out of the top 5 for a long time. But that defense looked locked in. I know Maxwell Harrison was big in this game for sure.
Mahomes had 0 touchdowns and he had his worst completion percentage of his career. And Josh Allen had the best completion percentage in like Bills history with a certain amount of attempts. I don't remember how many it is, but like either way, like the only thing is that we had all this and then we still only ended up winning by 7 because we kind of got comfortable towards the end of the game and we didn't really do a lot on offense towards the end of the game and it got a little scary. But we still won. We just need to do that in the playoff.
Yeah, coming in at 3, not a whole ton to talk about them. I believe they were on the bye. Yeah, they were on the bye. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sitting at number 3. There's not really a lot to say.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker
Mayfield's a
Mayfield.
dog. That's all I have to say. Baker Mayfield took the bye week and he beat it.
Yeah, you go, Baker. Coming in
That Baker
Coming in at number 2 and number 1. I hate this so much, man. I freaking hate this. I hate this division. I hate football. I hate everything. At number 2, it's the LA Rams, who we talked about. They had just another incredible game against the Saints. And you know what? My Matthew Stafford MVP narrative is looking very real. Like he is playing incredible football.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I believe he's now first in MVP odds, I believe, actually. Let me check that right now.
I don't believe so, but I could be wrong.
He was second to Mahomes, but I don't think it's Mahomes anymore.
Which Mahomes being first is just an absolute joke.
Oh, of course.
The Rams have signed UFL legend Harrison Mevis, aka the thicker kicker.
Let's go. This is a
That's an
massive
absolute
dub.
solid. Birmingham Stallions legend right here.
We here at Footballers Anonymous love the UFL, and we love the thicker kicker. So kind of hype that he is officially an LA Ram. Congrats to him. Honestly, I think this is the last piece that the Rams were missing. The thicker kicker is just he's gonna bring them so many rings, like by himself. And I hate that, but he's just incredible. Anyways, not a whole ton to say about the Rams. Matthew Stafford is playing insane football. They dominated this game in every sense of the word. Kyron Williams rushed for over 100 yards. He looked incredible. The ball spread out really well between both Puka, Devontae, and Terrence Ferguson, actually. He had a pretty good game. Defense went crazy. They had a great game. Yeah. Overall, this is just a really good, really complete team in a really heated and close division that is currently pretty much being run, unfortunately, by our number one team, the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, it's Seattle.
As Asa should be. As Asa should be.
Yeah, as they should be.
I love this team. I love the Seahawks right now. I love them. They're amazing. JSN is a dog, and I love having him on my fantasy team.
I hate the Seahawks so much, bro. And they just traded for Rashid Shaheed from the Saints, who is that one player we were missing. Just another decent receiver on a team with already way too many good receivers. It's fine. It's fine. They absolutely cooked the Commanders on Sunday Night Football. Absolutely cooked.
Carson, who are the Seahawks playing this upcoming week?
Jacoby Brisket, baby.
You know, if the NFL just if we want to continue down the path of chaos, we need two things to happen. Maybe three. The Cardinals beat the Seahawks, the Niners beat the Rams again, and then just for whatever reason, the Packers and Eagles tie.
I was just thinking earlier, I was like, how funny would it be if we have been unable to beat the Seahawks for the past 4 years with Kyler Murray? We are now 8 straight wins, or we are now eight straight losses in with our Seattle Seahawks rivalry. And then imagine they're looking the best they've ever looked in the past 5 years, and they lose to the Jacoby Brissett Cardinals. That's cinema right there. NFL scriptwriter, I hope you're listening, because this is a peak script, and it needs to happen. It needs to happen. And then I think they should lose out, actually. And JSN should stop.
And at the end of the script, make sure you add the part where Carson wakes up from his dream in a cold sweat crying.
Yeah. Seahawks look like a great team. Their defense is dominant. Their wide receiver room is insane. The Legion of Zoom, they are so fast. Yeah, the NFC West is a freaky division, and then there's the Cardinals. But 3-6-2 teams is crazy, and it's going to make for some great games this week. I will say, the Cardinals are going to look like one of the best offenses in the league this week, because they always play up to their competition until the fourth quarter. So, if you want a good game, go watch that one. But with that is our Footballers Anonymous Power Rankings. Going through all the rankings really quickly, we have at the bottom the Titans at 32, at 31, the Saints at 30, the Jets at 29, barely escaping the baddies, the Dolphins at 28, the Raiders 27, the Browns 26, the Giants 25, the Commanders 24, the Falcons 23, the Cowboys 22, the Bengals, who tied with the 21 Cardinals, who won the tie. At 20, the Texans. At number 19, the Vikings. At number 18, the Ravens. 17, the Panthers. 16, the Bears. 15, the Jags. 14, the Chiefs. 13, the Chargers. 12, the Steelers. 11, the Packers, who tied with the number 10 49ers, who won the tie. Number 9, the Eagles. Number 8, the Broncos. Number 7, the Patriots. Number 6, the Lions, who tied with the number 5 Colts, who won the tie for the top 5 spot. At number 4, the Bills. Number 3, the Bucks. Number 2, the Rams. And number 1, the Seattle Seahawks. Friendly reminder, these are our power rankings, which automatically makes them better than Pete Prisco's. And with that, we're going to turn it over to Alex, who has our conspiracy of the week and our pick'ems update.
Oh, Baby, we got a good one for Conspiracy of the Week. This is top notch right here. We're looking at the Purple Bowl. Purple, as Tom Grassi would put it, the purple incarnation of Satan, taking on the Baltimore Ravens. As many NFL fans know, the Ravens are not the oldest team in the NFL. They were Cleveland Browns before moving to Baltimore. So these teams have only had 7 matchups. They are going to have their 8th matchup this upcoming Sunday. The big kind of kicker here is the historical value of the matchups between the Baltimore Ravens and the Minnesota Vikings, specifically when it comes to the Vikings. Every year that the Vikings have beaten the Baltimore Ravens in the regular season, they have gone on to the NFC Championship. 3-0 or 3-0 when it comes to beating the Ravens and going to the NFC Championship. They did it in 1998, they did it in 2009, and they did it in 2017. That was notably when they had their Minneapolis Miracle to will them to the NFC Championship and keep this streak alive. On the other side of the coin, on the other side of the ball, as Ian would put it, every time the Vikings have lost to the Baltimore Ravens, being in 2002, 2005, 2013, and 2021, the most recent matchup, their head coach at the time has gotten fired. The most recent result being Mike Zimmer. I remember Leslie Frazier was their coach in 2013, and he got fired immediately after that season. Give me 1 second. I want to have the other 2 names pulled up, so this is going to be a little bit of a cut. But
Yeah, what happened to your Pittsburgh Steelers conspiracy?
that's still going, by the way. I'll get to that.
That's just one that you're gonna keep track of.
Yeah.
Word.
This is not. The Vikings have it on their website, but it's like really unhelpful. Dennis Green, who was their coach for 9 years, got fired I'm sorry. Dennis Green was their coach that got fired after their Ravens matchup, which they lost. And then Mike Tice, who got hired after that season, and then immediately got fired after the next Ravens matchup. Well, not immediately after, but after that season. Point being, this game determines whether or not Kevin O'Connell gets fired or the Vikings go to the NFC Championship, which both seem kind of improbable, but that's what's happening. You heard it here first. I also want to update on last week's Conspiracy of the Week, where this is kind of the first one where I've actually been able to really update it and kind of give good feedback on it. The Steelers beat the Colts. I picked the Colts. The Steelers I've only gotten 1 game right with them, and this is and it was the Browns one, which is the obvious one. It's been pretty improbable, but I've gotten every other Steelers game wrong. So if you want to get your pick right this week, I'm actually taking the Steelers over the Chargers.
Ooh.
I'm taking the upset, which means I'm going to be wrong and the Chargers are going to win. So go pick the Chargers.
Interesting.
The Chargers win.
That'd be wild. Wow, that is a crazy conspiracy.
As for our pick'ems update, now that I'm actually on the page. I was looking at my picks. I was like, yeah, we gotta do the pickups update too. Oof. Cam Bam is sitting at first at 87-47, but signed FBA table sitting in second, 85-48. And okay, it's a little weird. Sorry. There's a 3-way tie technically. 85 wins, but there's different loss counts. Buffalo Bill picks 1 is 85-47. Signed FBA table is 85-48, and RT Remco's picks is 85-49. So that's just where they are. As for the 3 of us, we are all behind all the people that are leading. I personally did very poorly this week. I went 8-6. I kind of made the wrong call outs for the upsets, and it kind of cost me. So yeah.
Yeah. With those predictions being talked about, we get into some of our games of the week, so you can get a sneak peek into what some of our picks are going to look like this week. Ian, you want to take us through 3 games?
I went 11-3 this week, guys.
Hey, goated. I went 10-4. Respectable.
I didn't think. Anyway, yeah, starting off, we have the Patriots going into Tampa Bay to take on the Bucks on Sunday, November 9th at 1 p.m. EST. 2 amazing quarterbacks, Drake May taking on Baker Mayfield. 2 very good offenses and very solid defenses. I'm personally going to be sticking. I'm not going to be sticking with my Buccaneers. I'm going to be taking the Patriots on this one.
Yes. I love this. Drake, May. I'm taking the Patriots. I've got him hanging on my wall. He had a bit of a rough week this week against the Falcons, but you know what? I believe in Drake May. I think this is going to be another signature win for the rookie. I'm taking the Patriots.
This is a really tough game. I'm biased, and I know I'm biased because I love the Bucks and Baker Mayfield, and the Patriots are in the division, and I want them to lose. So I'm gonna take the Bucks. But like with that being said, I would not be surprised if the Patriots took this game. It is going to be a really good competitive game, and I can't wait for this one. This is honestly this is the one this is like the matchup I'm actually looking forward to the most this week, which is surprising because we have a good slate.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a good slate, and continuing that slate on, we're going to have the Rams going into San Francisco to take on the very injured Christian McCaffrey demon-led 49ers. Also on Sunday, November 9th, but actually at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to be taking the Rams. I want Matthew Stafford to have 5 touchdowns in this game for the sake of my fantasy league. And I wouldn't mind it if Kendrick Bourne also had a good amount of points for my fantasy league.
I'm taking the 49ers. I'm taking the 49ers here, actually. I don't know why. I think they had home field advantage in LA, which is so funny. This was the game where they were feeding crowd noise into the stadium, which is hilarious. I think they can sweep it. I believe. I know they're hurt, and I know the Rams look better than ever, but I'm gonna take a gamble and take San Fran here.
I'm gonna take the Rams. Yeah.
All right.
Lastly, we have the Eagles going into Green Bay to take on the Packers on Monday Night Football, November 10th. I'm taking the Eagles. Packers are overrated. They're kind of buns. Eagles are better.
I hope the Eagles run 50 billion tush pushes.
We agree.
And I'm kind of a tush push hater, not gonna lie, but it's worth it here. I'm taking the Eagles.
They kind of have to, considering the Packers were the initial team to propose a ban on the tush book after the
exactly.
last year.
Yeah.
It would be very fitting.
Dude, I know this is going against like everything that like everything signal just screams that the Eagles are going to win this game. It's such a bad pick on my part, but I don't know. It would be such a Packers thing to do to win this game, and in fact I even think that the Packers will be like I don't know why. Like, I think the Packers will run a tush push at some point in this game just to be.
What?
That's the extent I'm like. This game is going to be a bloodbath, and I think the Eagles lose, and the Packers use the tush push against them. That is gonna be that's my bold prediction of the like. That's my bold prediction. I'm calling that the Packers use a tush push successfully against the Eagles.
Whoa.
Just any tush push at any point, just as long as it's successful.
Right. It doesn't have to be like a game-winning thing or like a touchdown. It has to convert.
So if it's like 1st and 10, first play of the game, and they run a tush push and they gain 3 yards, is that a successful tush push?
Tush push.
Or are you specifically talking like 4th and 1 touchdown scenarios?
I am pretty much talking like 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 touchdowns, maybe second.
Like a
Basically,
scenario where it would actually be used.
It has to move the chains or score.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I don't think anyone's gonna use a tush push on 1st and 10, unless the Packers are just gonna be like, let's run a tush push every play and get 3 yards every single.
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the Eagles solidify the game and they line up in victory formation and run a tush push in victory formation. Absolute cinema. But yeah, speaking of absolute cinema, we've got 3 college games of the week plus a bonus college game of the week. Woo! I know. Pretty crazy. So we're gonna jump into those super quickly. It's a bit of a less interesting slate this week. We have 1 really good game and then two what I think are sleepers. First up, we got Tulane coming into number 22 Memphis on Friday Night Football at 9 p.m. Eastern. Hey, YouTube TV, get ESPN back, please, so I can watch more college football. But yeah, we've got Jake Retzloff and the Tulane offense taking on a ranked Memphis for some group of 5 action in the playoffs, hopefully. I personally am taking the Tulane upset.
I'm all in on Tulane. All in entirely on Tulane over Memphis here.
I'm gonna take Memphis. I don't know.
Shout out the Showboats.
Interesting.
I think I just like being different for college football picks, which Let's see our next game of the week, and we already know what I'm doing with this one, just because I have to for the bit.
Man, this team has been on here so much, but they've just been part of all the best games because the Big 12 is going crazy right now, and they're kind of the team to beat in the Big 12. We have it should be number 7. Hold on. Sorry. I'm making sure I'm checking this right.
No, no.
Oh, no, never mind. We have number 8, BYU, coming into number 9, Texas Tech on Saturday. This is a huge game with big playoff implications, big Big 12 implications. This could be a big decider for Big 12 championship. This is going to be a good one. I, of course, have to take BYU. I believe in them. This is the best I've seen them play in so long. Bear Bachmeier is that guy. Hopefully they have LJ Martin back by this game. I like BYU here.
I've seen how BYU's been playing this season. I've respected it. This week they're playing Texas Tech, and I have to go with BYU. They are generational. They're gonna rail Texas Tech. It's gonna be like 60-20. That's my score prediction for the game in BYU's favor.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. All right. What? So I'm gonna be honest. I don't actually have a choice when I pick BYU games. I just I'm forced now to pick against BYU regardless of if it's a good pick or not. So I am going Texas Tech just because it's the plot. This is just what I'm forced to do. This is for the content.
He's not the hero we asked for. He's the hero we need. And lastly, we have number 6, Oregon, who's potentially on fraud watch, but still looking very good. Taking on Iowa, who recently fell out of the rankings. This is at 3:30 on Saturday. To be honest, I'm torn. I'm not going to lie. This is a hard one for me, but I'm taking the upset.
I'm not torn at all. I'm taking Iowa.
What is going on? I'm taking Oregon. We're going against the world. I am different in 5 of 6 games.
Ian and I are just locked in like that, bro. Just hop on the train, dude.
Let's you and me are together in one game.
But we do have one
We
more.
both took the Rams.
Yeah, this is true. You guys did both take the Ram. But we do have one more, possibly one of the most crucial games in all of college football this week. And it's not even the NCAA. Because one thing I forgot to talk about in Carson's college knowledge is the Marching Virginians Football League. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks ago, the Marching Virginians Football League kicked off. And for those of you who are not in touch with the MVFL, first off, you guys gotta get your heads in the game because this is some elite football going on. We are the only podcast, by the way, that covers the MVFL. Don't look it up. Just trust us. But we had the first 2 games of the tournament this week in the MVFL. The first game, the historic rivalry between the saxophones and the trumpets in the Brass Bowl. The Trumpets took the win to move on to the championship, 35-19. They actually, quarterback
The
AJ.
saxophones aren't even brass. What are they doing in that division? They shouldn't have been there in the first place.
It's true, yeah. I don't know actually why it's called the Brass Bowl. This year they did combine with the trombones, so they did have brass, I guess. I don't know why it's called the Brass Bowl though, but that's just what it's always been called. But yes, the Trumpets did win 35-19. And then in the backfield brawl, which is a new part of the tournament that has never been played before, between the Virginia Tech drumline and the Virginia Tech tubas. The struggling tubas lost 50-12 to the Virginia Tech drumline, who will be moving on to the championship that is happening this Saturday at 7 p.m. at the Marching Virginia Center, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be calling this game like I called the Brass Bowl. And honestly, no questions asked. I'm taking the Trumpets. I know the drumline scored 50 points. I don't want to say it's because the tubas were bad. However, I think the competition was a bit more challenging for the Trumpets. They did have, we also got a shout out, they did have elite wide receiver Charlie Gallion playing for them. honorary footballer anonymous. I'm taking the Trumpets. They have the numbers. They don't have to play the whole game, whereas the Drumline does. And honestly, this is just a dominant team. 3-time MVP. Coach Berger's coaching them. They're going to get another win easily. And they're going to get the first ever expanded playoff win, which is going to be awesome. So shout out the Trumpets.
Shout out any people who know about going and hitting the showers after very poor plays and these football games.
True.
With certain referees.
And that's going to wrap up this episode.
Shout out Todd
Those
Titchener.
who know.
Shout
Carson
out Todd
knows.
Titchener, the GOAT of all
Todd
refs.
Titchener.
Yes, sir.
Charles Gallion, make sure you're not hitting the showers after the game.
Absolutely. Charles Gallion is actually reffing. He will be lead ref of the MVP
Really?
championship. Yes.
He's got to make sure Todd Titchener doesn't show up to the game and send him to the showers to try to take over. If Todd Titchener takes over, everyone's gonna be in the showers before the game is over.
No.
Oh man! All right,
You're rejected
you.
in the showers.
But yeah,
Yeah.
with that,
Thank you everyone for tuning in for our episode of Footballers Anonymous. I'm gonna start doing the outro just because Carson does it every single time, and Carson's going to be questioning why I'm doing it instead. But sometimes we gotta mix it up, and I don't want Carson to get hit to the showers for doing too much. So we gotta give the man his props because this man does a lot for Footballers Anonymous. Shout out Carson Baird. So thank you all for tuning in. I'll let Carson do the rest of it though because it would be wrong if Carson didn't start the train.
Okay. Sure, yeah. With that, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Footballers Anonymous. Don't forget, if you like the video on YouTube, please hit that like, leave a comment, subscribe. They help the channel tons. They help the podcast tons. Make sure you're listening wherever you listen. We're available anywhere you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. Make sure you're following us on Instagram. Make sure especially you're following us on TikTok so you can get the Christmas album before Christmas. It's pretty important. And also don't forget to follow us on Facebook where we only post Minion memes. Footballer Nation, thank you so much for joining us. With that, Footballer Nation, let's ride.